Okay, everybody, welcome. Welcome to the City of Cross Lake regular council meeting Monday, April 10th at 7 o'clock, and let's stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, thank you all for coming. First, we have some additions to the agenda. We've got special council meeting minutes of February 22nd, a corrected special council meeting minutes of March 20th, some additional bills for approval. We are adding Alden Hardwick for an update on the Pine River Overlook Park. City Administrator, we're adding Chad Dixon, a proposal regarding short-term rentals. The commission reports, Park and Rec, we're adding an update on the hockey rink, update on youth coordinator position, and an update on the Kubota. Public Works, we're adding updated pricing for a water trailer, I believe is what it's for. Public Safety, resolution supporting application to Sourcewell for grant. And then we have got some additional bills for approval, so I need a motion to approve those.
So move to approve the additions.
I second.
Motion and a second.
I'll second it. Did you second it?
Sandy seconded
Oh,
it.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear her.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Now, we have got our administrator and Shar, our clerk, both gone tonight. I'm assuming Shar's going to do these minutes off the recording? Or she's on there? Okay, good. Okay. Okay, next is public forum. Action may or may not be taken on any issue raised. If council requires more information or time for consideration, the issue will be placed on the agenda of the next regular council meeting. Speaker must state their name and address. Does anybody have anything? Peter, come on up.
Peter Graves, 14131 Sugarloaf Road. I just didn't get onto the agendas, but I wanted to give you an update about the April Foolish Day tournament. We did have a tournament. It went off without a hitch, except the fact it was not outside. Weather kept us indoors again this year, so we had to split between the community center and the school, got permission from both places to use their facility, and we had to split up our divisions because we had 10 teams this year, which was an increase from last time. And the first year that we ran this, we were able to raise a little bit over $1,000 for the 3 charities. This year, we were able to raise a bit over $1,500 for our 3 charities. So the 3 charities that won was the Common Goods, the Food Shelf in town, and Homeless and Wounded Warriors. So each of them is getting a check for $530. And in addition, there was a new contest going on that the team that showed up with the most foolish outfit got to have their charity win the price of entry for it. So they got $60, and that is going to the Christmas for Kids.
Do you have any pictures?
I just have one picture that we took today of our first Common Goods donation. And there are some pictures of the team players and the awards. I think that'll be in the paper.
All right. Good. Thank you, Peter. Anybody else have anything? Not seeing anybody moving. We'll close public forum. We'll go to the consent calendar next. Does everybody have a chance to review it? Any questions? Motion?
I have a question. It's in regard to, well, I'm going to ask it now. Looking at the financial statements, I see there's nothing coded for the fire department head, chief, in the wages. There's nothing coded for March. Did it all go into services? That isn't really what we want. We want,
Number are you on, Marcia?
it is C6, and it's, fire department would be, is there page numbers on here?
Yeah.
Yeah, page 5, wages, there's nothing.
See what?
You know, they were putting that $1,200 stipend in there. That was the fire chief's wage. Well, I'm on the financial statement, C6. Is there,
Is that this right here?
nope, nope,
Under fire administration?
yeah. Oh, the fire chief's wages went there all the time. You have 2 months, January and February, $1,200 each, $2,400, but there's nothing in there for March. And I want to catch it right away that he's being paid for fire chief duties. Why isn't it there? Is it going down into services? Then we don't know what he's being paid.
So I guess the person we need to ask that to is not here, huh?
Well, can Shar answer that?
Chip Scott.
We didn't get paid until April.
Oh, so it'll be,
For March? You didn't get paid in March at all?
No, we got paid April
Didn't you,
3rd.
so you got paid
Or
in
5th.
February and you got paid in April, but you didn't get
We
paid in
were always
March?
follow the month after.
Pardon?
We only get paid once,
No.
and it's about a week after the last week of the month, depending on how the payroll follows.
So in February,
I'd have to look. I know for March, we didn't get paid till April.
okay, I just want to make sure that it goes in the right category.
so that'll show up on the April next month.
Okay, all right.
Okay, are you good with that?
Yeah, I didn't understand where they were going to put it.
Any other questions on it? Now we need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All in favor. Next, we have got the mayor and council members' report, and first is a thank you letter from the Cross Lake Food Shelf. Thank you so much for your donation of $250 to the Cross Lake Food Shelf. It will go towards our enhanced Easter distribution. So you are welcome. Next, we've got a letter from the Crow Wing County Historical Society. I'm assuming looking for a donation, huh?
Yeah, they're just looking for money.
What does that got to do with our local historical society?
I don't think anything. They're two separate things.
And to my knowledge, we don't give our local historical society any money.
Correct.
I don't think we gave it last year. I'm not sure. Shar would probably know that.
I asked Shar that question this morning. She says we've never given to them, so.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay, so we need a motion.
Don't take
I make a
action.
motion that we do not distribute, or that we do not give any donation to the Crow Wing County Historical Society.
Okay, do we have a second on that?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All in favor. So we have got a email from Pam Graves about the illegal fireworks. Pam, did you want to get up and talk to this, or just leave your email? You're not going to make me read this, are you? No, come up and read it then.
You have the email there. Pam Graves, Sugarloaf Road, Cross Lake. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Thank you, Mayor, City Council. Last year, I stood up at a public forum and said, there is trauma going on in our neighborhood from illegal fireworks. with people repeatedly setting off fireworks in almost any weekend that they say their family used to do it all the time, and it's a tradition that they'd like to continue. My email includes information about the illegality of firing off non-permitted fireworks in our city and the ordinances that would say the punishment for doing this, which the least of which would be confiscating it, the fireworks. The challenge, though, for the city and the residents, I'm not against fireworks. I love our lake. They went through a permitting process here and got a fire safety person to be there so that we would have legal fireworks in addition to the July 4th firework display, and do it safely in the hopes that everyone else would not continue to put fireworks on in their backyards. Despite good intentions, that did not happen. Fireworks continued before 4th of July and continued afterwards. I have one dog who refused, after about 3 days of this, to go outside and do his duty outside because he was afraid of the guns going off. He would cower and would not go off, and it could be any day, any time of the evening. It was irrelevant to the July 4th weekend. It could be any time, and it was very traumatizing. I can only imagine what would happen to any veterans that have any post-traumatic stress disorder, that all of a sudden you hear these bangs going off that you're not expecting. So my request last July was, can we think of something to do other than taking scarce resources to drive down roads to try and find it after the fact, which then you're not going to find the fireworks because they've already been fired off. So what can we do to educate people? And it ties into short-term rentals to say, what language can you have in your permit for short-term rentals to say that it is illegal in the state, not just our town, but in the state, to fire off fireworks? How can we educate people ahead of time so that before July comes, we don't have to keep experiencing this?
Good question.
We could put maybe an article in the Northland Press, just, just informing people, as you say, that, there's negative ramifications other than just, being an annoyance. I mean, it can actually negatively impact animals and people. I mean, it's a start. It sounds like, from your letter, it sounds like they seem to be occurring from the same places.
I believe it's not just my lake.
Oh.
Oh, no, it's all over.
If it was just one lake, I think we could manage that.
You and I
It would, Jackson and Pam could. But I think it's all over the city, and it is irresponsible to take city employees to run around chasing fireworks when it is known to be illegal ahead of time. There should be ramifications for the property managers of short-term rentals and the owners of short-term rentals. If there's a report of fireworks from their property that I'm making it up since you're making up the process right now, you have to cancel all reservations for the next 3 months after illegal fireworks are fired from your property. Boom, and you get to notify those next people who are going to spend the summer here. So the property manager has the onus to say, do not fire out fireworks, no matter how you brought them in, and shh, don't tell anyone.
But you're not speaking just to the STRs, you're speaking...
I am not speaking just to the STRs. Before STRs were an issue, we had fireworks that started the week before. We had them years ago, and people said, I'll be darned, my parents taught me how to shoot off fireworks, and I'm going to teach my grandkids how to fire fireworks.
So unfortunately, Pam, it goes down to enforcement, like everything does. And Chief Lee, can I get you to touch on that?
No.
It's not what I was looking for.
I know, and I'd love to be able to give a clear and concise answer, other than we will deal with fireworks as we have in the past. We get complaints on them and we can get to them in time or see them being fired off, if we can get to them in time, we will confiscate them. We've got fireworks that we hand over to the bomb squad every year that we've confiscated. It's not STRs. We haven't, as far as I know, had any short-term rentals that have had fireworks. I'm sure they are. We can put it out on the webpage or the Facebook page that fireworks are illegal. Obviously, people know that aerial fireworks are illegal, I should say, and ones that go boom
Yeah. it's the boom.
are illegal. Beyond that, I'm not really sure. I mean, we could be in the, up on Melinda Shores Road, and the fireworks are going off down on Big Pine or vice versa, and never know that it's happening. And so it's not, as you put it, unwillingness to do this. It's just, I mean, Jackson and I talked about it last night. I said, well, give me 10 officers and unlimited overtime, and we might put a dent in it. But
So, I totally agree, and my intent was not to have your department solely manage. I mean, you've got other issues going on 4th of July weekend, or the week before and week after.
all summer.
Yeah, all summer long. So maybe information, so Nancy with, the Echo Journal and Paul with the paper, get some information and do the drumbeat of how many dollars worth of fireworks were confiscated and given to a bomb squad, because that's the proper disposal of illegal fireworks, to let people know this is not just trivia. I mean, people can lose fingers if they don't have proper training. There is a process. If you know about it, drumbeat the process. Get a permit. Get a safety officer to do this legally ahead of time. The city has gone through and approved the permits.
But the only way you're going to do it is through strict enforcement. Then you're going to get them to comply. They're just not. They're going to bring up fireworks, and unless they're going to get a big fine or something, they're going to be shooting them off.
Well, by law, there are big fines.
Yeah.
Well, would it be helpful, in addition on the website, to put fireworks are illegal, to also list like what the penalties are if they violate the provisions of those sections? Just
Yeah, we can certainly do that.
I mean, the
You know,
least
it's-
of which is confiscating them, and then they've lost the hundreds of dollars that they've spent on them. That's the least
right.
monetary hit. I mean, the fines can be significant. So we need, of the residents here, if you could have a friend volunteer to get caught, and we would all share the penalty, and then we'd publish the penalty and know that we were doing something about it. No, I'm kidding.
I was going to raise my hand. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's the weekend before and the weekend after is one thing, but when it goes off into Labor Day and, I mean, it's all summer long. So I guess the only thing we could do is make a motion and tell the chief to enforce and catch as many as you can.
No, I wouldn't want that motion, because the department is already doing what they can, because it's realistically, with 34 miles of lake shore or whatever, how many lakes do we have, you can be on one side and not only not hear it, but not be able to get over there in time to do anything about it, and because all the evidence would be in the air and floating around, so.
Maybe you should
it's-
form a citizens vigilante group and just go
I
hunt them
like
down.
drones with squirt guns, and if we wetted down every site with a drone. Sorry. Thank you for listening. Thank you for
If you
listening.
get anything going, give me a call. Not an easy answer, Pam. Okay. Resolution accepting donations. We have got some donations from the Cross Lake Firefighters Relief Association for $3,021 installation of Cradle Point router and accessories. Cross Lake Firefighters Relief Association and the PAL Foundation, $2,000 for challenge coins. Oh, I'm sorry. No, that was the Cross Lake firefighters. The PAL Foundation is $366.50 for the snowshoe trail. PAL Foundation also $51.91 for the Banner program. And Robert McPherson, $35 for the Park and Rec Department. We need a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion to adopt a resolution accepting donations as listed.
I'll second that motion, Marcia.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All in favor. Next, we have got a application for appointment to the City Board Commission from Mary Jo Fitzvold. I kind of meant to talk to you about this, TJ. Do you know Mary Jo?
Yes.
Would you like her on your commission?
Yeah, she'd be a good addition.
Okay, I will make a motion that we appoint Mary Jo to the Park and Rec.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All in favor. Next is Alden here? I haven't seen him. Oh, you're in, okay, good.
I'm not Alden. I'm Linda Paff, and I'm here on behalf of Alden
All right.
and on behalf of the Park and Library Foundation, PAL for short, to update you on the progress of fundraising for the new Pine River Overlook Park. We've talked about it last month as well. The park's in a quiet spot on a nice flat lot off of County 3 and Riverwood Lane behind the maintenance buildings. About an acre in size, it'll be a great space for not only canoe, kayak, and tubing groups and individuals to launch from, but a nice spot to picnic, fish, or just hang out and enjoy the river view. TJ has a video showing the special launching docks for the canoe and kayaks. And this is what we have proposed and what we put down money on. That is not the dock yet. That's TJ across the lake.
We'll get there.
That's not the river. There. So this will ease in launching off both canoes and kayaks. So with approximately 9,500 in donations received to date, we're currently about a third of the way to our fundraising goal of $28,400. Two generous individuals have pledged to match up to $2,000 each of any additional donations received. So with the nice warm weather finally here and people thinking spring and summer, we're hoping to have more businesses and individuals help support the new Cross Lake Park. Any amount is very appreciated. With any business, individual, or foundation that does donate at least $500, they'll be recognized on a bronze plaque that'll be displayed at the park. And here's a picture of the plaque. So we have brochures in the back if you're interested in learning more. And thank you. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Linda.
Thanks, Linda.
Okay, next we're going to the city administrator's report, and the city administrator is absent, so Mr. Person and myself are going to try to tag team this thing. So first is review the Crow Wing County short-term rental ordinance.
A, B, and C are all needed to be passed if you want to have the county enforce. D, I'm not sure what that is, but if that's something you want to explore, you probably should talk about that before you adopt the county supervision.
Yep, I agree with you.
Well, can I just add something here? I think what we were going to do is go with the county this year because we don't have time. Logistics are against us for licensing. So I think the motion was to get what we needed from the county so that we could get the approved ordinance and the agreement signed so that they would take over the rentals for this year, just this year.
That's A, B, and C.
Yeah.
Yep.
So to the extent anybody wants to talk about D, I'm not saying you want to or should, but if you do, I would talk about that first.
But there wouldn't be a need if we're going with the county.
Well, then you don't need to talk about it. I'm just making sure you
Well,
hear that before you,
I've-
yeah.
But but we should listen to that proposal because we are going to work on getting this
Okay, you're right.
ordinance.
You could adopt A, B, and C and then still listen to that for
Right.
future use. That's very true.
Thank you.
I would agree with that.
So anyway, if you want to go in that in that manner, A, B, and C, I've talked to the county staff a bit. They basically told me what to put in this ordinance, which is verbatim from the county, not reference it, but adopt it verbatim. And the license agreement says, in effect, you can get out of this in 60-day notice, or so can the county. But until then, they're going to handle all administrative processing and permitting. They keep all the permit fees. It's their baby. They're doing it on your behalf.
So just to let the public know that when we get our ordinance in place and the staffing and who's going to administer it and all the kinks out of it, and we adopt that ordinance, we repeal this ordinance on the spot at the same time.
You have to give 60-day notice to the county. So you'd wanna
Yes, for
give
the
them a heads up.
agreement, yeah.
Yes.
We would want to do that by November 1st, prior.
Well, whenever you think you're close to 60 days from being ready, give notice, or when in doubt, give notice before that even, but at least 60-day notice to the county.
Yeah. Well, I'll make a motion that we go ahead and adopt the ordinance and publish the summary and approve the agreement with Crow Wing County to administer and license the Cross Lake short-term rentals.
I'll second that.
2023.
I'll second that.
Little discussion, go ahead.
Well, I'm just hopeful that we can make a commitment that we will indeed look at some other possibilities, ordinances.
Yeah.
I mean, not just say, okay, I want us to make a commitment that by a certain date that we will have adopted our own.
We
Can let the county know.
stated that last time by doing this till January. So we'd have it,
And we stated
Sound.
it the year before, and I think we stated it the year before that, so, yeah. We're committed. First of all, last meeting, I think we told staff to approach the county, see if they would be willing to, and what their terms would be. I don't think we agreed to do it. I'm pretty sure that I didn't, for sure. And so you know the county, you kind of know the ins and outs. I mean, if the county were to license, but the city still have an ordinance in place so that we could enforce?
No, my understanding, and that's what it says in that, the letter C, is if you want to do this, we can't, two things. We can't customize the agreement, the ordinance to add things that we like in City of Cross Lake. It's either take the county ordinance or don't have them handle it, number one. And number two, it also says that if you're going to have them do it, they're going to handle the permit and all the administrative enforcement. There's not going to be supervision unless, they've administered the process and a person's not complying. We might be stuck with some enforcement, but the original application process, it's their show. Until you give them 60-day notice and do your own.
So, Brad, typically when the county or the state or somebody has an ordinance, we can be more restrictive, but not less. That's kind of the rule, right?
That statement's correct generically or overall, but when it comes to STRs, my understanding is if you want the county to help them, we can't add another paragraph that talks about number of bedrooms or something else. I was told if you want to have the county enforce this, they're going to have the same set of rules for every city or jurisdiction they, do the program for.
And we really can't enforce without some kind of ordinance, correct? I mean, it's just going to be the county.
I think there's only three options. Do nothing, create your own city ordinance, or have the county do it for you.
So to your point, Jackson, we need to commit to something by a time frame. But just so you know, I've been sitting up here for about 6 years, and we have done that to these people, I would say for sure 3 times, year after year, committed that we're going to do something.
okay, I get your point. It's a valid statement, not put you on the spot, Aaron, but didn't we say we're going to work on this till 2023, so we have something ready for 2023? Was that my understanding, Marcia and Aaron, correct?
For 2024.
Or for 2024, yes,
So we
correct.
have the right here.
So we can have it sealed up and ready to roll.
And that includes the hiring of a person or contracting with somebody.
Exactly.
However it works.
Exactly.
That's what we're trying to do, is
That's the
get,
plan.
We need to do this, and then we need to discuss the process. Am I-
Right. That's what we're committing to.
What you-
that's that,
Okay.
and my motion was for 2023. It wasn't for 2024 or beyond. It's for 2023, because logistically, we cannot get this in place and have staff or even get contracting out and get the licensing done. People are going to start wanting to license the 1st of May for sure, before, what's that called? Fishing opener. Anyway, logistically, we probably should have had a plan for who was going to administer it and the software programs. Because if you go on the county's website, you can apply for a license, you can file a complaint, you can upload pictures to their site of any violations that occur. You can call them, and there's a map with who is licensed. You can find out who the property owner is, the phone numbers. I mean, it will take citizens, you want our help, but we need your help too. So we're going to need citizens. We're going to have to rely on them to file complaints, call the county, call the property owner, and get things done until we get this new ordinance in place and administration of it and enforcement.
By the sounds of that, I'd say we're all pretty darn committed to getting it done, Dave, by 2024. You have us on tape.
And we might have been talking about this before, but I would say that the county just started licensing last year, if I'm right.
Yeah, they
So,
went through a
and-
year cycle, that's what we told them, let's see how they do after a
Yeah.
year. That year has come and gone.
So, and we say we're going to put ordinance in and be patient with us. We're going to have to tweak it maybe. We might not get right first time, but we're not going to allow the county to tweak or have a second year at licensing.
Is there a reason why we have to wait until 2024? If we got something in place and we gave them
Well,
60 days notice?
They'll be licensed till December 31st, 2023. So there would be no point in,
You don't want to make them pay twice.
Well, people who'd already paid wouldn't have to get a new license, would they?
To the
Sure.
county.
Sure. if they-
To the county,
Yeah,
not
the
the-
county's not gonna give them the credit back.
Okay.
I would like to hear, and I don't know if I can do this, can I open this up for public comment?
I would like to see it now. We've had hours of it, Dave. We've had hours of
can I
it.
do
And I
that?
don't think bringing up any more is going to be productive.
Well, you guys keep saying that we can't do anything this year, and I think there's some people in the room
Well-
that say that we can.
but I don't think we,
This is
Process.
council
I
decision.
don't think we have it on the agenda, of public hearing. If people looked at the agenda, they're going to say you didn't have public hearing on there for short-term rental. You had short,
Chip, speak to it?
I thought he was on the agenda.
Let's respect the process of Robert's Rules of Order and vote.
So you don't want Chip to talk to it either?
I mean, he could talk to it, but we're going to vote on it either way.
I'm just going to make a comment again. We're throwing out life safety inspections again.
Maybe till 2024, but maybe that's just the way it's going to have to be so we can get the ball rolling.
We've heard that from so many other council members.
Hold it down. Wait, Dave, I'm calling for the vote.
I need clarification here. Under the general requirements in the noise, it says 10 to 7, Sunday through Thursday, Friday and Saturday, 12 to 7, as far as noise ordinance is
That's
concerned.
the county.
That's the county's ordinance, correct. And I understand that. My point is that the city ordinance, Brad, is a administrative fine. And the way we have it laid out is that we have to give a notice to stop or a cease and desist the noise and give that letter out, and anything after that, I can give a citation, do we need to alter that or amend that noise ordinance that it can be, a citation can be issued on the spot?
There is some crossover because some of the things in the county SDR ordinance are things we already enforce, like, but in my mind, if you can we're not amending our noise ordinance. So you might apply it to an STR, you might apply it to a non-STR, but you can follow your process independent of the county STR permit process.
Okay.
That's how I would view that.
All right.
So our ordinance states 10? Quiet?
10, yeah. But our ordinance is also an administrative fine that has, 2 strikes and you're out. So does that go against the property owner, or does that go to the person who's actually renting the
Wait, now,
property?
2 strikes and you're out of what?
I have to send a letter saying, before I can cite someone, which is $75 fine, I have to send a letter saying that this has to stop, this behavior. So it's not the owner causing the behavior, it's the people who are renting. So it really, I don't have any bite in that ordinance, noise ordinance regarding STRs, or anyone for that matter.
Without a city ordinance, yeah, you don't have anything.
We've got a city ordinance regarding noise.
Just for noise, yeah.
Right.
Right, across the board.
And Mr. Lohmiller, I do respect the time you have put into the life safety stuff. I do respect
Not what
that.
I'm talking about. I'm talking about life safety. So if something does happen because there's no egress,
Right, and I do respect that. But how are we going to appoint, or how are we going to assess all of that when we just want to pass the county ordinance so we can get going? All your stuff would be included in the 2024 City of Cross Lake ordinance. I respect that. I respect all the time you've put into life safety. I'm not poo-pooing that at all. It's just I don't understand, and maybe you can explain it, how we would jump on that starting right away. If
With
you
an
can
ordinance.
explain that.
An ordinance. Without an ordinance, we can't do anything.
Maybe we should adopt the state building code.
Well, folks, I'd like to let you talk, but they won't let me let you talk, so I guess we're just gonna have to take a vote. All in favor of putting it back to the county, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-2.
Since it was 3-2, that was regarding, I think Marcia asked for them all at one time, but the approval for summary publication, which just saves us money, you need a 4/5 vote for that. So can we have a separate vote on that? The A has been approved, you only need a simple majority for that.
Okay.
But B requires a 4/5 majority, so can you maybe make a motion to vote on that separately to see if you have 4 votes to avoid the cost of publishing the whole ordinance?
I'll make a motion that we publish a summary of the ordinance in the official newspaper.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Motion carries 4-1.
And now I think that it covers A, B, and C, because we only need a simple majority for C as well. But then if you'd like to have, assuming Chad Dixon's here, just hear him talk about letter D, I think it's time for that.
Before Chad speaks to that, and I know this is a very hot topic issue, but you did have a previous council. Yes, maybe they didn't do anything, but I think you have 5 council members here who have already committed and are thankful for the work that has already been done to set up an ordinance, and the framework is there from Mr. Lohmiller. I do think that is a step in the right direction, and that does show that the council is willing to get stuff done and get it right for next year.
And I'm sure there'll be some real satisfied residents with that, Jackson, that'll look forward to next year.
Just trying to be a little positive, Dave. Thank you.
Okay, Chad, come on up and tell us your spiel, and then Tim, you guys are going to come up next, so stick around, because I'd like to hear from you.
Hello, everybody. Chad Dixon with Above and Beyond Homes in Cross Lake. I spoke previously about some thoughts and ideas I had about the actual implementation of a short-term rental ordinance. To be honest, I actually think it's something that we could have implemented. And, originally I would have thought it would have take 45 to 60 days, but last week I did a bit of a crash course on the Civic Plus software, which from what I understand is the software that the city staff uses. And what I found, I know Shar had mentioned that there were printing issues, so some of the visual aids didn't get printed out. I brought extra copies of the actual visual aids. So within that software, it already has all of the technology and everything set up. So my gut tells me it would be 20 or 30 hours worth of work to have an entire application system built from start to finish within that already interfaces and is hosted by the Civic Plus software suite. So that would mean the actual application process would be as simple as the applicant going online onto the City of Cross Lake website within the, I believe it's the forms permits section on the website. There's a list of different types of forms and permit applications. From what I recall, I believe there's already 2 types of applications that can be submitted online, and those are the ones that say submit online. Just by clicking that button, it takes you to a pre-built web form. Setting something up for the, I believe it's right in the forms and applications section down there in the lower left. Forms and permits. Yeah, so within here, there are some application types that are already set up as a interactive web form. So on the right-hand side, it would say submit online. So where I'm going with that is that like that one, right? Well, I mean, granted, that's only a contact us form, or report upon, it's just another version of a contact us. Each one of those PDFs can be configured to be an online form, which completely eliminates the need to print, fill things out, mail, email, and then have someone within the office staff have to sit down and type everything in. So if the application process for short-term rentals, for instance, it really would be as simple as, like in the visual aids that I have, going out of the website, clicking the submit online, which would be, wherever maybe there's a short-term rental application section on there, they click submit online, simple web form where we're collecting all the information that we need to process the application, as well as uploading appropriate documentation that the city deems requirements for short-term rental licensing, which off the top of my head would have to be, septic compliance or verification that the property is connected to city sewer, for instance.
Chad, I don't want to cut you off,
Sure.
but condense it a little bit.
Yep.
Is
So-
that the city's website you're
Correct,
talking?
yes,
And you
within-
could upload your licenses that are required for the application?
Correct, yes. So once that part is all done, nobody has to actually do any work on the city's end because it's just interfaced right into the software. From there, it would just be an approval process. Whoever's in charge of verifying, somebody that can read to confirm that the dates are valid on compliance certificates. They're checking boxes, they hit submit, and it's issued. If we all decided that life and safety inspections should be part of that process, which I think everybody does agree that they should be, the fire department could upload their report and it interfaces right with the entire process, with the application itself. So again, there wouldn't really be any need for additional staffing or anybody to overlook anything, because it can all be leveraged with
So they
technology.
could schedule the life safety inspections online too, and pay online. They could pay their license online. They could pay for the.
Yes, ma'am.
The inspections online. So it would
Correct.
all be entered by the licensee.
Correct.
And it'd be a matter of checking in an approval box after all the information is there and the inspections have been passed. The approved box would generate an email and a
Correct.
license.
We generate the license automatically, submit it to the applicant, as well as update the Civic Plus system, showing that that license is approved and what the status is.
So every part of this licensing, administration, and inspections would be through online.
Yes, ma'am. Little process I like to call Automagically.
So that, like if you applied for a license and you needed an inspection, you could go to a section that says inspection, and then that would be generated to whoever's doing the life safety inspections or schedule a life
Yes, ma'am.
safety
Yep.
inspection.
It'd be as simple as configuring the approval process. Again, the software is fantastic.
Is this Civic Plus?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And like I said, to be honest, I thought it would take weeks or maybe months to have all of this configured, but after spending several hours just crash course on how the software works, I could do it using the Civic Plus software in probably 15 to 20 hours. Now, how long would it take somebody
So
part-time
incorporating
doing
the
that?
safety, it'd be another 30, 40 hours, but in a week's time, you could have it up.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Well, actually, let me preface that by saying 30 or 40 hours, assuming it was something somebody was working on, 8 hours a day. It could be done in a week, but.
Right.
yeah.
But you have to get the inspections and stuff done, and that stuff, before you can license. So
Yeah, and then
it's not
also
a matter
within-
of turning it around.
Yeah, within that software, it does have the capability to assign geolocation tags to the licensed properties, which it wouldn't surprise me if that's the same system that Crow Wing County is using.
Oh.
So they have that mapping
Where
function.
you hit the little house on the map,
Yes.
and then
You can see the pins
the
everywhere in town of all
owner's
the licensed
name
properties.
comes up, and then hit the arrow, and then the phone number and address and all that stuff comes up. So it makes it really easy if you have somebody that's violating the license, all you have to do is click on the complaint.
buttons.
Click on the property owner, give them a call the police, do whatever you have
can
to
even
do.
cl-
City
You
of
can
Cross
click a
Lake
button
would
to-
have an ordinance in place so that they would have the ability to react to it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Chad, can I assume
That
that
we
you have the
don't.
capability of doing this process?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, enough said. Chad, thank you.
right.
I gotta
sir.
let
All right.
Mr. Berg have a moment.
Okay. Can,
Come on, Tim and Patty?
Mr. Mayor, can I make one
Absolutely.
talk? So that is similar to what I was mentioning earlier, the Vail. Everything is done online.
Yep.
Scheduling,
yeah,
everything, and he's got it up there right now. It lists pretty much everything. If you go and do, let's see, where'd we go earlier? For example, individual property owners, you just click on that and everything's in there. Instructions are in there, and everything gets pushed to, like scheduling a life safety inspection gets pushed to the schedule and creates the schedule and then sends whoever's doing inspections an email.
see, this is new because we've never been shown this. And we thought there's going to be a lot of hours and staffing and stuff, and it just doesn't come out to play that way. I don't think we had all the information, and all of a sudden now we had all this interactive stuff.
But I've sent this to you for the last 2 years,
No,
so.
I'm sorry, no.
Well, we'll look at it again. Okay, go ahead, you guys.
All right, I'm Tim Berg, and this is my wife Patricia Demko Berg, and we're at 12038 Harbor Lane in Cross Lake. Thank you for letting us come and speak today, and thank you to Chad as well. We're going to elaborate a little bit on what Chad just did. We sent you all an email proposing that we would be willing to take on the contracting portion and administrating part of regulation of VRBO. My wife Patricia happens to be the administrator for WALA, which is the Whitefish Area Lodging Association. In that job, she deals with Ideal Corners, she deals with VRBO owners, and she also deals with Crow Wing County. We have a pre-existing relationship with those three partners. We suggested that we could take on the administrative part of regulating VRBOs, and that would include the licensing, the coordinating of the inspection, or which could be scheduled online, manning a phone. We also came, to the conclusion that on the Cross Lake website, there would have to be something built in there for we would suggest short-term rentals only. That's where you can fill out your application, that's where you can get information on how to do it properly. And that's also where you as a citizen can go to coordinate a complaint against a neighbor who has unruly occupancy. So you guys just voted to let Crow Wing County do it again for this year because I realize you're scared and you want to do it right. I totally get that. Last year in Cross Lake alone, with the numbers from Crow Wing County and their software, there was 128 operational short-term rentals within the Cross Lake city limit. If you were to charge a $500 fee, that's $64,000 to the city of Cross Lake. $64,000. As it is, we just voted now. We're going to hope that nobody dies in the next 8 months, and we just gave all that money to Crow Wing County. And all they're really going to do is send out some licenses. That's exactly what just happened here, and that's my frustration, dealing with this since 2012, sitting on our hands, being told we're working on it. Right now, we're just going to cross our fingers, and we just let go of $64,000. That's what we just did. But what we're trying to do with Marcia's plan, and I guess Jackson and a few others, if you want to put something in stone, you need to have it done by the end of August for sure. That's what you really need to do. You can't say we're going to have it in place by 2024. You got to have it by the end of August. If it's not too late, I'm telling you, with what Chad just told you, he could have the website designed probably within a week and a half, realistically. We could have licenses out by the end of May, the same time frame as Crow Wing County. We are willing to do this. We are willing to work for the home inspection. We are willing to talk and share in a partnership, if Crow Wing County will do it for their software, with figuring out who has a short-term rental in Cross Lake. We may need a P.O. box, and potentially, if you wanted to go a little bit farther, we could have a cell phone with a number designated specifically for complaints to short-term rentals. We've done a little bit of research, and by we, I mean my wife has. I'll let her take the floor on what she's learned about some other counties in the state of Minnesota.
Hello, thank you for your time. So I have spoke with Stearns County. Angie Berg is the director for Stearns County. And I also talked with the city of Ely. And both of them have a resounding voice that they don't have to do much at all as a city or as a county. That they give, in both of their regulations, that they make sure that everyone 500 feet around them for property owners has contact information with either a 24-hour property management or the owner. They said in Stearns County, there's only been one rental that's been shut down in 3 years, and that was the violation came to them because it wasn't taken care of by the owner, and they were shut down for parking and over occupancy. They said it was a very easy investigation when you go onto the VRBO website, and there's pictures of 20 people saying how much fun they had at a property that's only supposed to have 5. So it was really interesting talking to both of them, as it was a huge city concern as how it was going to be regulated. They're very shocked when it came back to that they don't have much regulation for noise complaints, for parking, for trash, because everybody has the owner's property, contact information or the property management contact information. Her biggest, Angie, and I have her cell phone number, she said, feel free to share it with the council members if they have questions. She would be happy to talk to you. All of their application, again, is online, just kind of what Chad was saying. And it's a pretty easy process because everything has to come to them in writing and with documentation. So to prove that they had contacted the individuals 500 feet from their property, it was with documentation to show and to prove that that had been done. If there was a complaint, it had to come in written form with documentation. If that's a noise complaint, it's cell phone documentation or an after-hours emergency call for some kind of write-up from personnel of some kind. But either way, she said, don't overthink it because it really comes down to the concerned citizens that are going to be the ones that are regulating it.
And we'd be willing to manage the part of the website with the complaints. We'd be willing to have something in the ordinance that says that it will be back with you within 24 hours. We could probably even get back to them quicker, depending on what day it is and what time of the day it is. We don't have to overthink the wheel. What we learned from both Duluth and from Stearns is you put the power in the neighbor's hands. People don't want trouble. And so if your neighbors are calling you, if they have someone to call, whether it's the owner or the property manager, they have like 15 minutes to get there and resolve the issue. If it happens twice, then there's an investigation. If there's an investigation, then there's a fine. The fine could be $700. It could be $300. It could be whatever you want to put in the ordinance. And the ordinance doesn't have to be perfect, because no matter what ordinance you put in effective 2024, it's going to have problems. It's going to have problems, and people are going to be upset. So to our point, why give away $64,000 and wait another year to figure out what's going to be wrong with an ordinance when you can put something pretty well that's already done? Chip's done the legwork. And this can be done in the same time frame that Crow Wing County is going to do it. I know it's annoying, I know it's frustrating, but I mean, I've been at it for 12 years, and talking to a few of you, a couple of you didn't get back to me, but talking to a few of you, the one thing that we heard was, we can't burden the city staff. Eric, I get it, he's too busy, we don't have enough police force. Well, we're here, like Chad's here, he's willing to help, we're here, we're willing to help. We've stepped up to the plate, the time frame is still the same. It's still the same, we could get this done.
Why do you say August?
I was talking to Councilmember Marcia, you know, and she said, you know, we would have to have something in place for 2024. Well, I know how the city works, so if we don't put something in stone and have it done by August 24th, so it's effective January 1st.
Yeah, I get it. Okay.
That's why I'm saying, like, we're not sitting on our hands. I've had it. And I'm not just the only one. Just had it. I've had it. A lot of hand sitting, and it's new council members, and boy, I can't tell you, I was promised, and I guess I'm just overzealous, that a couple of these people were going to come in and change the world. And to hear this, to rely on the county, I mean, what a laugh. Even the people we know down there had a hell of a laugh on it. They don't want to regulate it. I don't mean to be mean. I know my email was pretty aggressive to you guys, but the numbers are there. It's simple. And we already have an ordinance that we're not even enforcing, which is a completely separate topic, but I really would like to talk about it.
Are we going to talk about the lodging tax? Because I was going to bring it up. I had asked to have it, but I asked for a couple of things on the agenda I didn't get, so
Yeah, we
anyway.
provided all the information. And,
Yes.
we've been,
I think the council got the lodging tax emails from the joint powers and the lodging, the ordinance.
It would be a lot easier to enforce things if we had our own ordinance in place, when you could do it relatively quickly and have everything going by we could have the website probably ready by the last week of April, licenses issued by the 1st of May, and it's not going to be a perfect thing. Next year's not going to be a perfect thing either. But until you do something, you got to start somewhere. You got to start, and you have to have courage. And putting it off, and I know you can tell me all you want, we're going to get it done. Somebody has to hold the council accountable, and I'm sorry, I hate that it's me. I really do. I think I'm known as the guy who complains about short-term rental. That's why I go out, and that's what people think of me when they see me. We're here, we're offering a solution, a real solution. And it's no different than having Crow Wing. In fact, you're going to get more results if you keep it in-house. You get more money for the city, and then you can hold people accountable, and you give those neighbors the power.
Well, I mean, Tim, personally, I mean, I agree with you, and obviously I'm in the minority up here, but, you know, I too feel like, you know, action should be taken sooner rather than later.
Again, the time frame is different.
Hold on. I think we've gone far enough, and there's been enough dissertation, okay? Thank you.
So can I talk about this lodging tax? I know it wasn't on the agenda, but everybody got an email on that. And in the joint powers agreement with Ideal, it says that the city can investigate and enforce the lodging tax. So does the city council want to have the city get involved in that, collecting the the enforcement of the lodging tax, just send out a letter and say, Chapter 46.
Wouldn't we have to have an ordinance in place to?
There is one. There's Chapter 46. The Chapter 46 provides for the lodging tax. The Joint Powers Agreement allows the city of Cross Lake to investigate and enforce the lodging tax. And there's really, I think, here we are, we have an ordinance in place, and we're not going to enforce it. So I just wondered if the city council would allow a letter to be sent out saying, we want Chapter 46 says, you're required to pay this 1% lodging tax, and tell them that they're not, I can't remember if there was a penalty with it.
Just going to say, is there a penalty with it?
There's quite a few penalties.
Yeah.
Of the 128 properties from 2022 in Cross Lake, 78 are actually in violation. And we sent you the email showing that our Craig Wallace, our city clerk, has reached out numerous times to get these people to pay in their 1%. And if I'm reading the penalties, it's 46-21, you got A, B, C, D, and E. I can tell you that it was about 3 or 4 years ago, there was a property in Cross Lake that, I will not mention, Brad wrote an email, and they were gonna be shut down, and they came and paid us the next day. And they weren't gonna be shut down, they were told they were gonna have to pay twice the amount that they were actually told to pay to
Yeah, I
all.
think it's 10% the first time and 50%
It could
the
go up to
second time.
50%, yeah.
It's kind of coming back to
And
me.
that's what had happened. They had gotten the letter from the city of Cross Lake, from our attorney, that they were gonna have to pay up to 50% in penalties, and then they came in and they paid their back taxes.
So why can't, that's what I'm asking the city council, if they would be willing to have the city send out a letter, since we do have a chapter, ordinance, Chapter 46, and we do have the Joint Powers Agreement allowing us to do it. I think we should do it.
And if they don't pay it, Brad would have to write them a letter, and that would go in Brad's court, correct? Is that my understanding? The city attorney would get involved
I
if they
don't know that
pay?
the city attorney has to get involved unless they don't pay, right?
That's what I just asked.
But yeah, we've gone through the ordinance, and so our Craig Wallace, the tax administrator, has reached out at least 5 to 6 times to these properties, and they're still not responding. So then what happened in the past, when that one property wasn't responding, we had our city attorney get involved. And then it must have been, I think, 1 or 2 letters, and of which the last one stated that you were gonna be assessed 50% more. So basically you have to pay what you pay, then 50% more of that, which was substantial.
I'm fine with doing that if Brad wants to. If Brad has no problem, if people don't pay, and Brad has no problem sending them a letter if they don't pay, that doesn't seem to be an issue.
But we're going to send out a letter to all of them that haven't paid, and then follow up with a letter from the attorney. If they don't pay,
They'll be shut down.
they'll be shut down.
Send a letter to all of who? All of the people that have registered?
Short-term rentals.
You're going to send them out to about 40% of them.
78 properties we have.
He's got
Out
electric.
of the 128.
About
that were-
40% of them. I would support that for sure if it was all part of the short-term rental ordinance that we're going to.
And that's why we kind of just thought, we'll throw our hat in the ring. We got the time to help with the city with the administration part of this ordinance. We deal with these short-term rental owners anyways. It would just be real simple to put it all together. But, if you guys could
But-
do that, that would be great.
I think you're going to make it?
I'll make a motion that we send out, or Aaron, do you have something?
Yeah, is this realistic thing that you're able to do?
Well, I for sure can do it. I charge the city, of course.
Of
So I
course.
would maybe recommend having city staff do it the first time.
Yes.
Right,
that's
and
what
then
I'm
you would
saying.
send the
But
letters
if you
to the
ask me
people
do
that.
it, I can do it. I just
Okay.
go to
You
the
would help
city.
them with the letter.
Yeah.
I think the city staff
I'm
should
good
note
with
in the letter that there is a penalty of 10%, and if they don't pay 50%, and if they're not paying, they'll be contacted by the,
Well, staff will
City
work with
attorney.
Brad, I'm assuming.
Since you have that all together, do you want to make that motion? Since you have the 50% and blah, blah,
Oh.
blah, blah, blah.
God, I was so smart there for a second. I'll make a motion that the city staff send out the initial letter to the, for the non-payment of lodging taxes to the, from the list that WALA gives us, and that there would be a 10% tax or a 10% penalty on unpaid tax. And if a second notice goes out, there'll be a 50% penalty on non-payment, and the city attorney would be sending out the second notice.
I'll second that notion.
Okay, a little discussion on that. So is the city going to collect part of that tax? How is the city going to cover the cost to implement this? Pay Brad, pay staff, do it.
That's, my
No, I
understanding,
know.
my understanding would be, I
I
think,
just wanna-
maybe that was a rhetorical
So
question.
now we're going
but-
to turn the burden back over to the general taxpayer to implement this.
Can I just speak on behalf, when we had sent this out before, it wasn't the City of Cross Lake staff that had sent out the letter to the property that was located in Cross Lake. It was it was Craig Wallace, who is getting a portion already for the joint powers. So he sent, I believe that they worked together, and they sent a letter out, and then they followed it up with Brad to let them
Is
know.
he going to do that with every property in Cross
So
Lake?
that's where, yeah, if we have, he has the emails that he's sent already to them. That was what the letter, or that the documentation is that we had showed. And so now we're to the point where we have let them know that they are 10 days late for 4 quarters and counting. And so I don't know if we need to send out another letter to state that we are going to collect again and that you are late, or if we just go forward with the next step as it states in the ordinance.
Patricia, how do you calculate the amount of tax that's due?
It is off of what they, so for the property that had done before is what they had paid before, and they just, they came up with a number with inflation, and they calculated with what they assumed, what the possibility of what they could have said, and they said that this is the number that's going to be assessed to you.
They added 3% to
percent.
what they had paid in the previous year, the previous year, and the previous year.
Okay, but you don't have that kind of track record with these.
No, but what we could
Short-term
do
rental
is anybody to say, we could find comparable housing that's actually paying into WALA, and we could just come up with an estimated guess based off of that property.
Okay.
Okay, so it's not going to be any cost to the city?
At some point, so should these properties choose not to pay, then they're breaking an ordinance the city's had in place since 1998. And as I tried to explain, to Marcia, is that WALA is a really good group. We try to market the Cross Lake and the Whitefish area, and we want to be the friendliest we can be. And we've been waiting and waiting and waiting. And so if you're going to put this off until 2024, we sure would like our funds, because there's a group out there who's not waiting. I've mentioned it before, I'll say it again. The Brainerd Lakes Chamber is putting together a coalition of all cities and towns in Crow Wing County. They're going to have them put together a group like WALA, charge a 3% tax in all those areas on top of all the tax they're collecting now, and they're going to be a conglomerate, giant marketing machine. We could either get swallowed up by all that money, or we can fight for ourselves, and we have something in place. We're the ones that they're trying to mirror off of. We need the funds so that we can keep up and so we can help market and keep everybody in business.
I am not going to support anything that is going to cost the general taxpayer any money to do this STR. So, and it sounds to me like this potentially could. I mean, with any kind of enforcement, it's going to cost us money.
With paying Brad, yes.
So, that it?
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, all in favor of
Let's-
whatever the motion that you just said was?
Let's think about just one thing. Since Aaron, I, and Marcia are clearly opposed, and we want to try to get this right, and yes, I get everything that goes, involved, why don't we use what Mr. Berg said, and yes, it is going to cost the city some money to pay Brad to enforce this ordinance, but it all boils down to an ordinance that we haven't enforced before, so why do we have it? So, as a compromise and an olive branch to show that we are working on this, why don't we pass this in the meantime till 2024, so yes, they can get their funds. And it does seem like it is the right
Well,
thing
this-
to do in my eyes.
This ordinance that Marcia made a motion on is in place in Cross Lake.
Right,
now.
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So I'm not
So if it's in our Cross Lake ordinance, or if it's a Cross Lake ordinance, why aren't we enforcing it?
Before it comes to he's spending a lot of money, Dave, he's going to have to come back to us. Am I correct on that, Brad? And say that we have 20 of these 78 people haven't paid. What do you want us to do with these 20 people?
That tells me that essentially we're doing nothing then. If we're gonna say we're gonna do it,
We should
now
do
you're
it.
gonna go back and let him say, okay, we gotta do it, and then we're
No,
gonna
well,
think about it?
but at that time, when he's going to start prosecution on them, then we need to be aware and be prepared for it.
Well, I think you gotta make that commitment
He's-
right now if you're gonna
He's just
do it.
sending a letter. He's just sending a letter.
Well, isn't there a fine attached? I mean, don't they have to pay more money? Where does that money go?
Goes to Walla. If they're gonna collect our lodging tax, it doesn't come to the Cross Lake, it goes to
Where did
Walla.
Mr. Berg go? I have a or Patricia, I have a question for you. Does Walla get paid to do the enforcement themselves? Does,
So from what, the penalty that was assessed on the other one had came back to WALA for those funds to be put back into the WALA funding for marketing. So there's it's a high percentage that all of the funds that come to WALA markets Cross Lake, or the Whitefish area, it's Cross Lake and Ideal. So that money, no, it does not go back into the city's pocket, it goes back into the marketing fund of our town.
correct.
Ideal would get 5% of the penalty, or do you get 5% of the lodging tax? No. Of each tax collection?
So they are paid, with the joint powers, they do receive, I believe it is 5% to pay for them sending out,
Fee
being
for
the tax
services.
administrator, yes, for their services of
Yes.
taking care of all of.
And the other 95% goes to marketing for the Cross Lake area.
Yeah, there is as administrator, I get paid as an administrator out of that fund, and the rest is all sent back.
That's not in that 5%?
There is yes, there's a
That is the
certain-
tax administrator services, is 5%.
Goes to Joint Powers, another group.
It goes to, yeah, it's joint powers, but we're contracting with Ideal Township
I
for
can tell you that.
tax administrator. It says right here, it says as payment for fee for services, as payment for tax administrator services, Ideal shall retain 5% of each tax collection payment received pursuant to Cross Lake's lodging tax ordinance.
And Ideals. So they're both.
Aren't they? They're
It's for
making their
Ideal
own money.
so Ideal and the city of Cross Lake are put into the same ordinances together. So that all the money goes in together. It's not separated on what
So-
city's paying.
That's in the joint powers
It's in the
agreement.
joint powers, yes.
Yeah.
So you're making your own money for administrative stuff to enforce this, correct? Is that what I get out of this? If
No,
you're making your
my salary does not increase. I have a set salary that does not increase based off the amount that we're getting.
She's the tax administrator for the Ideal
Well,
Township,
right,
right?
but if Ideal is getting money out of this 5% to do their own enforcement, why is the city of Cross Lake going to enforce Ideal?
Jack, it's not, Ideal is not making money.
I thought
Walla
that was the
collecting
understanding.
Cross Lake and Ideal are in a joint powers
Yeah, they're, okay,
agreement.
okay,
Yeah.
never mind. Never mind.
I don't understand why if Cross Lake is paying, the city attorney to send out letters that provides you with more money.
The last time we did it on I do recall doing it a couple years back, but it was one property owner, and it was like, I probably charged $100, $200. But for 78 of them, it's gonna be a lot bigger number. So before it was so inconsequential, but
I wasn't catching that.
Right.
Well, we're hoping that the 78 people will ante up right from the first letter. Then there's no attorney fees.
And as I was saying,
Be
to the
nice out
board,
there.
it said, from the board, they said, go talk to the county, or to the city, and say, are you willing to have your city attorney to go after these properties, or do we have to hire our own personal attorney and not have the support of the council as we're going after these properties? So that's how, in fighting for a short-term rental and then fighting for this 1%, that's been an ongoing beat against, it was pretty astounding to see the 128 properties and 78 of them are out of compliance. That's a big number.
So did you go to Ideal Town to find out if they would?
Dale Township, we've
Yeah.
talked, so with
Would
working
they
with Craig, we,
would they share 50% of the cost of the attorney fees to collect this?
I will ask them.
Yep, I think that's what you have to do.
So Ideal Township doesn't do its enforcement. They let you guys do their enforcement.
Tax administrator, yes, and
Yeah,
that would be
this-
her.
Yes, and it's, I mean, it's, yes, but with Craig Wallace being the, in charge of it, and he's a part of the Ideal Township, they're, I mean, it's kind of, he has a big voice.
I think we're willing to do it, but the Ideal Township should be willing to step up to the plate too and pick up 50% of the attorney fees for collection. And I don't know when their next meeting is, but that should be brought forward to them.
All right,
And we'd like to know.
I will keep you guys posted as I talk with Ideal, and the 78 properties is just in Cross Lake. I will, the numbers for Ideal is separate from that, but I will get the full number together.
Oh, so we could be doing just, no, never mind. Just go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Marcia, I think you made the motion. Can you restate it? Close.
The motion was to approve staff to send out letters to the unpaid businesses that are,
STRs.
well, they're not necessarily that. They're unpaid, the lodging businesses that are not paying their 1% lodging tax. And to, I thought I had something in there about the penalty, the 5%.
10%.
No, 10% penalty if unpaid, and it will increase to 50% if another letter has to be sent out.
But are you amending your motion to say that that authorizing the city to spend money on lawyers is contingent on Ideal splitting that bill? Is that what I'm sensing?
How about that? The homeowner has to pay the lawyer fees.
Splitting the bill for the ones that are in their district.
The second letter that's.
Can we make the business pay the attorney
No,
fees?
Ideal Township, I thought that's what you were
Yeah,
asking.
that's where I was.
Yeah, the first motion didn't talk about that.
Let's do that in another motion then.
Okay.
Will that work for you? That was the motion, and I think there was a second, so you need a vote, right?
Okay, and Jackson, you seconded it, I believe?
I did, but I'd like to make an amendment to Marcia's
Okay.
deal. But do I have to second that first or not? Can I make an
Already-
amendment right now?
You already seconded it.
You can make the amendment now, as long as Marcia approves the
Okay,
amendment,
we
you
make
can
an
vote on
amendment
it.
Instead of the city paying for it, or whatever, city paying for the lawyer fees, that the homeowner, if they don't pay, or the business owner, that if they do not pay, they are the ones, not the city or Ideal, on the hook to pay the lawyer fees. So this,
Get the 50% plus attorney fees.
plus attorney fees from Ideal and from the city of Cross Lake, so the city themselves is
I'm
not
sure
paying.
It might, but the ordinance would have to authorize that already. I'd have to check that. I don't know if it does.
Okay, because digging into it further, I would not support what Marcia's statement is, having the city pay you to do other stuff.
Okay.
That's where the 50% of the attorney fees from Ideal was going to bring down.
So Cross Lake's paying 50 and Ideal's paying 50? I'd rather see the business owner or the homeowner pay all of it. Well, then let's go with that and have Brad get back
For
to
full
us.
clarity, I don't know, so we have 78 properties in the city limits of Cross Lake, and then who knows how many properties in Ideal Corners?
Right.
Ideal Corners is gonna wanna pay for Ideal Corners. So, I mean, at this point, we're looking at like, we'll just get our own attorney and do it. So, I don't see Ideal Corners stepping up to pay 50%
So
of
just for
ours.
Cross Lake.
Yeah, these 78 properties are just in Cross Lake.
Okay.
I'll amend that we just have Brad look into having those homeowners or business owners in Cross Lake pay the attorney fees and not the city if they do not pay.
Then just to touch on a little discussion, if our ordinance doesn't allow for that, we could amend the ordinance, right?
For sure, it's just not in the way we're doing it right now. If it doesn't empower us to do it, I can come back with a redraft.
Okay.
I don't know. I haven't looked at it recently. I'm not saying you're wrong, I just don't know.
Okay.
Do you approve of the adjustment to the amendment, Marcia?
Yes.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, all in favor. Okay, Mark, come on up.
Jackson, you want to read those just for the record?
I'm going to read the Zoom real quick for the record before Mr. Linder speaks. Ryan and Kate Chise say, what authority does this speaker have to be licensed to administer of the short-term rental licenses? Does he work for the city? And I do believe at 7:57 he was probably referring to Mr. Berg. Rebecca Wharton says, how long would it take for the fire department to make 128 safety inspections?
Chip? Any response?
I'm not sure, it'd be about 30 to an hour per inspection, depending on the size of the house. But like we said earlier, or last month,
Yeah.
we
Just
would
extend
have
it.
extended
Right.
time to get the inspection. It wouldn't have to be done in a week.
Some grace time.
Okay, Mark.
I think, Mark Linder, Pine Lou Drive, Cross Lake. I think the 128 or whatever number you're talking about isn't even, it might be half of the number out there. And the reason I say that, I know there's a lot that aren't reported. There are requirements to be a licensed VRBO, et cetera. And the one that I've talked to you about, and I'm being on planning and zoning, I know what their septic issue is. And this, at 38325 County Road 3, has a two-bedroom septic system. It has since they rebuilt the old house, built a new one on top and didn't change the septic. It's now rented out at 4 and 5 bedroom. In the summer, it says over 20 can stay there. There's tents in the yard. This is the one I've had to call the police on multiple times. That one does not have a legal septic. They can't be licensed, and what are we going to do about it? I think if the city takes this over, we can get it quicker taken care of, because I've reported it to the county. The county told the owner, who happens to be here tonight, that he had till October to get that septic in, and he never got it in. So I'm frustrated. The county isn't handling it. Somebody needs to take care of it. I don't know what to do because we've had so many issues with it, and the septic isn't compliant, and they're still letting them operate. So what do you do? That's.
Well, if he had till October and he didn't do it, then the county shouldn't issue him a
That's why
license
the
this year.
county- I don't think there is a license. The county told him he couldn't operate. You can ask him if you want, you know who it is.
So the county right now is not licensing, but if we do this agreement with them, then they will start to.
They didn't
So
take
right
care-
now-
This was last year. It was supposed to be taken
Yeah.
care of. I went to Jacob Free on this multiple times. And he said he
Okay,
addressed it
but-
with the owner and told the owner he had till October to get septic taken care of.
Per our conversation with the county a month ago, they were not licensing Cross Lake because we were talking about doing it. So after tonight now they're going to have to license all of these.
But last year, they were licensing Cross Lake. This was.
No, I
don't
know.
think this
I know they
place-
were, Mark.
I don't think this place was even licensed, okay?
Okay, but so what we can do now is we can call the county and report it.
Okay. Will the city do that now? Because
No,
No.
we as
You.
citizens.
You need to call.
Yep.
I'd done it many times with Jacob. Free.
Without the ordinance, the city cannot do anything.
Okay, if staff isn't doing it in the county, at the county level, then you need to go to the county commissioners meeting and tell them staff isn't doing their job.
Yeah, because they said it would be fixed by October. It's been 2 years and there's still a non-compliant septic there.
Just like anything else. You keep going to the next person up.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Okay, on a lighter note, Mr. Bray, would you come up and lighten things up for us?
Heavy stuff. Fascinating stuff.
Oh, I bet.
Well, it is fascinating, sorry. Mayor and council members, I'm Tim Bray, I'm the Crow Wing County engineer. I wanted to come in, it's been a couple months since I provided an update where we're at with the project that's going on in town, the intersection improvement and also the pedestrian improvements along CASA 66 and CASA 3 right in the heart of Cross Lake. Since the last time I came and spoke, on March 7th, the county's annual Transportation Advisory Committee meeting was held on March 7th. And at that meeting, we had Jacob Bongard from Bolton and Mink and Associates, the same gentleman that came and presented at a couple meetings, the last public meeting in November. He came in and talked and expanded on the reasoning behind his recommendation to go with the roundabout at the intersection of 3 and 66. That went well, and we were able to answer some questions from the county board at the time. Since then, on March 30th, we had a project management team meeting right here in this room. And at that meeting, we reviewed the latest concepts for the roundabout concept at the intersection, incorporating some feedback from the Corps of Engineers and some of the public feedback we received. Also incorporated in that was our first shot at showing what the pedestrian improvements might be. We presented 2 options there to that group. And one incorporates the motion that this body made several months ago about the possibility of utilizing the parking lane on the east side to enhance the pedestrian, the ability to address pedestrians rather than impacting the private properties there. So think about consuming the 10-foot parking lane now, which what we discovered through the process is mostly painted curb that's yellow. And so there will be those that will be concerned about losing parking, but we'd have to really look in to see where you can't anyway. We figured it was about 70% where you can't anyhow. So one of the concepts was to consume all of that. So think of a boulevard, a sidewalk, and then the property line. And then on the west side, the parking would remain as it is. It also incorporated some bump outs and some other pedestrian things that have been talked about since we started this project. So we at the PMT meeting, we first rolled that out. We talked about setting a schedule that I want to just talk about and announce today. So we're gonna, those layouts I just talked about, those concepts that are actually beyond concepts now, will be ready for public consumption on our website. We're shooting for April 20th, where those will be on that website where the general public and you all can comment on that online forum. And then that's in preparation for a public meeting that we've promised in the spring here for April 27th. So just in a few weeks' time, 17 days' time, we're going to be back in this room with another public meeting and be able to show the public some of the latest developments, show the pedestrian stuff, and receive some comments. It'll be an open house format. It will be a little bit different than the last one, hopefully.
Yeah.
I don't mind doing those. I think that's an important part of the process to let the
How are you going to
people
promote that, Tim? Are you going to put paper and normal stuff?
Yeah, we're going to do it like we did last time. We leveraged social media. We have Bolton Mink, who has a public engagement officer that she is on board and developing a plan. She's developing the templates that we will use and others will use to promote it on social media. And I know that the chambers liked it, the cities liked it, and some other organizations, which really spreads the reach. We are going to have paper flyers that we've had the help of the Cross Lakers to put it in storefronts and things like that. I know Cindy does a great job of promoting it through the chamber.
Is it going to go in local papers? Do you do that or not?
We will utilize the local papers. If you remember, the Northland Press last year picked it up. And we'll be reaching out to them also to be part of that. So April 27th? Go ahead.
On the 27th, what time?
We're finalizing that. I think there was another engagement by another group that we were trying to make sure that they could make it. Usually they're 5:30 to 7. About the same time frame as we did before. And we'll finalize it. It's between 5 and 7:30, let's say. And we're
Tim,
gonna
On the
plan.
website, are you going to have both options
Yes,
posted?
yes, yes, well, both options that are there. Both options currently involve roundabout.
Understood.
Okay. And then, so we strategically talked about this timeline because, we've had a lot of public engagement about it. We've provided a lot of opportunities for input. And so we wanted to make sure that that public meeting, you would have that for your meeting, your next meeting is on the 8th. We wanted to make sure that your constituents and the county commissioners, simultaneous constituents, had an opportunity to get to both you and the county board about what they felt about it after hearing from us. Because on May 23rd, that's when the county board will take it up for official action to adopt the preferred alternative. And I would suggest and encourage those to come to that board meeting, come to the council meeting after that public hearing, so you can be informed and then you can act as a body to inform the county board what this body's concerns are.
So the county meeting is May 23rd?
Yes, May 23rd, so still 5 weeks, 6 weeks out. And so we're gonna have a public meeting on the 27th. We'll definitely get this in writing and maybe it'll be in the notes for this meeting.
That's 10 a.m., isn't it? 10 o'clock?
Sure, Char will let us know.
Yeah, we're gonna put together those advertising documents just over hopefully the rest of this week. Phil and I will be working it out with his public engagement officer. I would encourage also, you've used in the past, your public works committee and your public safety committee to actually then, those layouts and those concepts that are much more developed than they were before, to take a look at them and provide you with some input as well. And along with those, be a cost estimate. There's always this cost, what's it gonna cost the city, what's it gonna cost the county, what's it gonna cost other taxpayers. We already have put some of that together, we're fine tuning those, the cost splits of the two, and those will be available before
April 27th?
We're shooting to have that available April 27th.
Yeah, okay.
And that's, excuse me, so that's my update. I know I don't have any graphics, I like to bring pretty pictures and stuff, but.
Tim, has the county and the city come to any agreement on the facility down there? Has anything happened with that? The maintenance facility?
Oh, the joint maintenance facility? Yeah. We met, so after the PMT meeting on March 30th, and for those of you that maybe kind of switch gears real quick there, the city and the county jointly operate and own now the joint maintenance facility in Cross Lake. And so the lease agreement, or the agreement, is going to expire this year, and we've all been anxiously trying to figure out how we're going to do that. And so the county's been meeting internally. We talked about some of the scenarios that we've been hearing about, and we'd had to do some budgetary and kind of look at how our operation would be, and we kind of came to where we want to land. And so on March 30th, if you recall, Mayor and Patrick, we were I sat down and just had the basic concept where I had asked can we agree that we don't want to leave, you don't want us to leave, you don't want us to buy us out, we don't want to buy you out. We want to jointly occupy and use that facility. And what we needed was that basic, we'd heard a lot of rumors and things like that, and we wanted to evaluate those and then come back to you. We needed that basic agreement because our county attorney needs to have some direct, he's gonna actually write the next version of the lease or the agreement. He was the original author of the one that's there now. And so he wanted to have some direction, some basic agreement that the city wants to do it similar to the way we do. And this is how the basic framework of that is. The county's personnel, we have a very robust facility and a campus, and we have a lot of the technical staff to take care of that, master plumbers, electricians, and those kind of things, and the contracts in place to fill the gaps where we don't. And we want to reach an agreement with you that that same staff would take care of that building only, in the same capacity. That includes preventative maintenance, corrective maintenance, all of those things. Capital planning, budgeting, all of those things that we already do for our campus. We want to share that expertise with you and split the cost 53-47, like that agreement we've always had. So there's we are agreeing to do it, but we have the cost of it too. So we'll be splitting that way. That's the basic how we like to do it. It comes with an opportunity to have a work order system. So if somebody, Patrick, sees a overhead garage door is on the fritz, he can go on the computer and put in a work order to our facility staff, who will marshal the forces and resources to take care of it. What we have general feeling is that we just haven't taken care of the building, and we need to continue to invest and do the proper planning to make sure that this is there for a very long time. If we continue on the path we are right now, we are worried that it will not last. It will not last. And so we want to come in and protect both of our investments by kind of coming in with our staff and doing.
And you got a positive reaction to all of that, and so now you're moving just to fine tune it.
Yes, I just wanted to recap our meeting. It was with you, Mayor, and just that's an update.
So are you, so the county would be taking on the responsibility for the maintenance and then charging it back to us on our 47% of the cost? That's maintenance. What about capital improvements? Would that come before the council before it was just went ahead, or are you going to let us know?
Absolutely.
So we can budget for the maintenance?
I'm sorry. I'm excited to tell you because I think that's what we bring to the table. Crow Wing County does planning very well. I'm not saying you don't, but we're planning. We have a 5-year plan for capital, and we've already done an assessment of that building to figure out what needs to be done in the next 5 years.
Oh.
What that gives you is the ability to plan for that cost and then appropriately budget. Sometimes it's easy to just be reactive, you know. Wouldn't it be nice to know when the roof is going to be on the fritz, so you could have the money in the bank rather than not have the money in the bank and here's this expense. That's one of the things that we're going to bring to the table, and it's going to help you budget better and more, spread it out, and anticipate.
Appreciate it.
Yes, and I forgot to mention, we put together some draft financials, so we're paying debt payments, both of us, and we're just finishing that up right now. We have operational costs. We have that financials and split that up. In that meeting, I learned that we needed to fine tune some things, so those will be coming to you as well for you to evaluate too. It's a savings of, I want to say, about 70 savings. It's a cost reduction of about $75,000 per year per entity.
And that is primarily because the building is paid off.
The buildings pay off. It does include increasing some maintenance, and PM's traditionally been reactive. And so it'll increase the maintenance and things like that because we're going to be ahead of it. We're going to be preventative maintenance.
I think we should just.
So we kind of jumped over the roundabout stuff and intersection stuff. Any questions? I'll stand for any questions about that.
In place, put your eye first.
3 and 11. Chip has a question about 3 and 11. You can see down there that they've cleared a spot out. That actually, this is just a testament that we're paying attention. So this last summer was a challenge. And we looked at ways to shorten the detour for the roundabout that's going to go at 311. That cleared space right across from Napa is for a bypass road. We're going to build a temporary road around construction. We reached a nice agreement with Mr. Andelchuk there, who owns the property, and he was gracious to come to an agreement with us and let those trees come down. We're going to put the road in and then take it back out, and that's going to shorten the detour. Coming from the other way, ideal, it's still going to be a little bit longer, but we were unable to do that bypass there. So we're excited about that. Spring has sprung, thank God. And I think that we're going to be able to see some scratching around there pretty soon.
Who was awarded that contract?
Anderson Brothers was awarded that contract. And also learning from some of the challenges that happened this year, we offered an incentive. And so I think I stood up at a previous meeting to talk about an incentive versus disincentive. We have disincentives too.
Right.
But we offered the $50,000 incentive to the contractor because I wanted to change the conversation. I wanted to make sure that the contractor, if they were scheming about how to get the incentive, not how to wiggle out of disincentives. I'd much rather have them
They do
talking
that?
about, what's that?
They do that?
So, and it was interesting, we were at a pre-construction meeting, I heard some really interesting conversations from the contractor that I probably would not have heard if the incentive was not offered. Like, we'll push the snow out of the way. We'll get it out of the way so the ground can thaw out and we can get to work. That would have never happened, I don't think. And so we're trying it there. If it works, you're gonna see it at 3 and 11, or not 3 and 11, but 3 and 66 and other projects that we have going.
Awesome.
Okay,
Tim, thank you
Can we
much.
go back to the joint maintenance facility? Do you have a time frame of when you're going to bring that to the city council?
I don't at this point. So we have our county attorney and his office will be drafting it. And we wanted to come to this basic agreement, and it was just not even 2 weeks ago that we got into that. So he needs to get it on his plate, so.
It's going in the right direction, though.
Right, and it will be for your consideration. It'll be a joint thing. It'll include the financials and who's paying what and those things. But there's other operational things that we might want to have in there. You know, who empties the garbage? It might have to be in there. And so we're going to give you a draft on that basic agreement. We're going to give you a draft, and then we'll negotiate. I would expect it to take a couple back and forths to make sure that you're getting in there, that you want what you want and the language you want, and we do too. So it's forthcoming, it's working. We're finally getting around to it. Any questions? Comments?
Thank you much, Tim.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Dave, can I go back to the first thing on E real quick? I think it is important.
So the short-term rentals?
Yes, I know. Chad, I have a quick question. Could we make a motion to have you work with city staff, Shar, and Cheryl, and Pete, to see what they want on the website if we go that route? I think that's important because they would be the ones looking and managing the website, seeing how they want it laid out. I think that would be important.
Yes, sir.
Would you second that?
I'll second that, if that was a motion.
Okay, any other discussion
I
on
want
it?
to do it, you don't have to. It's just.
Thanks, Jackson.
Oh, no, I'm not in favor of that until we know when we're doing this stuff and we're getting it done, because we're going to be paying the person that manages our system to do all this. Understand that?
Correct.
So I think we need to get some of those answers, costs and stuff first.
Well,
Okay,
I don't see,
that's
I
fine.
don't think there's any harm in having at least a meeting to discuss
To
it.
see what city
Yeah.
staff would want.
Yeah.
Is my own, that's,
I mean, Chad is offering his.
It could actually help sort of outline if you guys do actually feel the need to hire somebody, which again, I don't
you would
think
know
that
what's needed.
Yeah, between the 3 or 4 of us, or whoever it is that you're
Chip
suggesting.
can provide the forms. He's got all the forms that he can
Okay,
give to them.
perfect.
So it needs to come there.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll can that. Thank you.
Okay.
So you're going to withdraw your?
Yes, I'll withdraw that motion.
Okay. Okay, commission reports. TJ, I guess you got it, huh?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I have 4 items for you tonight. Item 1 is a request for council action. It is regarding our gutters on the community center itself. You go down to the option 1 and 2, I'll just be straightforward. When I budgeted for this project in the Capital X project, I initially was going for option 1 to keep our existing gutters on the main portion of the building, and then on the addition to add gutters. Upon further investigation this spring, I found out that those gutters are original to the building itself, and the life expectancy for gutters is 20 to 25 years. So I've kind of shifted my focus to option 2, and I'll go through those real quick. Option 1 would be to replace existing downspouts, install new 6-inch gutters and downspouts on the east side of the building. East side of the building was built in '07. And then option 2 would be to remove the existing gutters and install new 6-inch gutters with downspouts on the original portion of the building, and install new 6-inch gutters and downspouts to the east side of the building. And like I said, my budget, I had $6,500 budgeted, but I do have available assigned fund balances to cover that differential.
I make a motion, we approve all the gutters.
Okay.
Yeah, option 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I second that motion.
Okay, any other questions on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, item 2, a few months back, you guys approved the concept to put together a hockey rink committee to get some people around the community to get involved and come up with ideas and where we should be headed with the new hockey rink and warming house. We had 4 meetings, very constructive meetings. Some of the first couple were projects ranging from very low on the budget item list or ranging up to millions of dollars. And I think we came to a good agreement in that committee. You'll see in front of you, I placed something there. Sorry, the last recommendation just was made this morning, so I wasn't able to put it in the packet. But I'll go through each recommendation from the committees and commissions. The first one from the Park and Rec and Library Commission, which was on March 22nd. The motion stated, based on the findings of the Ice Rink Committee and the study of the surrounding area rink facilities, the commission recommends pursuing a full-size, community-focused hockey rink, recreational skating surface, and a multi-use warming house, so as to stay in line with the Parks and Recreation Comprehensive Plan. On April 5th, the Ice Rink Committee met and made the following motion. The Rink Committee is in agreement with the recommendation provided by the Parks, Recreation, and Library Commission with the addition of the following. The plan should be developed in phases. Phase 1 should include the hockey rink, rec skating surface, and a warming house. And Phase 2 should encompass a rink covering structure. The second item there is the city should be financially committed to the project. And the third is plan and develop each amenity to be focused around year-round use. And so we conclude with the third motion, which was made by the PAL Foundation this morning. It was moved by Mark and seconded by Jeff that the PAL Foundation supports the recommendation of the Hockey Rink Committee and that the PAL Foundation would be available to leverage donations and grants for the project utilizing its 501c3 status. So we have 3 boards and commissions in agreement with a certain direction. And my goal tonight would be to get a motion to proceed with the following recommendations so I can work with Phil from Bolton and Mink and further talk about a budget, further talk about where we could place these items within the park so we don't place it in the wrong place and come to find out 10, 15 years later that we should have built it here, we should have built it there. Just to have the more professional services on hand to help us come up with a plan.
TJ, you want a motion just for you to continue gathering information about where it should go and the nuances of the project?
I think the main guts of it would be coming from the Park, Rec, and Library Commission when it stated the facility should encompass a full-size community-focused rink, recreational skating surface, and a multi-use warming house. And then from there, it'll be put back to my Park Commission to work with the city engineer to come up with a plan surrounding that recommendation.
No budgetary numbers out at all.
No, this is just to keep the ball rolling and to go based off of this focused plan approach. And then we'd come back with some numbers at a later date.
Has Phil given you any budget for what he thinks he'll have into it?
I have some rough numbers. I'm not ready to provide them yet. He has worked on a rink over in Aiken.
I mean, just numbers for his service to put a plan together.
He hasn't stated anything to that effect. I don't know. It looks like he's out in the hallway, but that'll be sometime next month. I'll be able to provide a number for engineering services. My goal is to just reach out to him, get the recommendation from the
Okay.
council to proceed.
So you'll come back next month and say we need 15 grand or whatever we need to move forward. Okay, go ahead, Sandy, make that motion.
Well, I make a motion that we keep the ball rolling. Is that what?
I'll second that.
So there's no, what type of an arena is it going to be? Is it going to be?
Not an arena.
in-ground, or is it going to be in-ground ice freezing?
No, the recommendation is pretty broad. We want the rink to be a community-focused rink, and we want it to be available to the community. We want to have a recreational skating surface and to do something with the warming house. And so they didn't really dial anything specific, and I think that's when we go back to the engineers and we go back to the park commission to really firm things up for you guys budgetary-wise.
So you'll come back with ice freezing, capability.
Well, I don't care if he works with the city engineer, but before we get very in deep, to any degree, I want to know costs.
Right.
And I'll struggle to vote for anything other than that.
Yeah, he's going to come back next.
So that's what you're asking for, is to pursue.
Yeah, this is just to pursue what the committees are recommending to go down, and I will provide those numbers if I get a blessing from the council. Yep.
Okay.
Anybody else? We have a motion and a second, right?
I think you're going to make Shar craft that motion. I don't think she'll put in there, keep the ball rolling. You want to try again?
I was just saying what TJ said, yeah. Okay,
I'm not picking on you, I'm just saying.
Okay, I make a motion that you continue pursuing more information and come back to us next month with some hard numbers
With the city engineer.
with the city engineer, yeah.
I'll second that again.
Okay. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries, TJ.
Thank you. Item 3, update on the youth coordinator position. I'm happy to announce that we had a candidate apply for the position. A little history there. We first started this position to be a intern position through Sourcewell. That kind of fell through just because we weren't able to capitalize on an intern in college looking to be in the profession of a recreational profession. So we kind of turned it into a position that a teacher could apply towards, or somebody who is looking for some work in the summer to be with kids. So we interviewed Sarah Ramirez, and she is somewhat new to the community, but she wants to invest back into the Cross Lake youth, give back, and she seems really excited. She has a background in biology, so she's going to be able to teach the kids about our trails that we have in the community center, our pond. She's going to be able to work some curriculum around that. So my recommendation is to hire Sarah Ramirez for the youth coordinator position at $20 per hour. And the PAL Foundation has agreed for this summer to pay the salary for this coordinator position.
How many hours a week do you think she'll be?
We're looking right around 4 hours a day, 2 to 3 days a week for about 6 to 8 weeks. We have not had this program before. We're going to be flexible with her schedule. And we're just going to kind of work it around the 4 days, or 4 hours per day, 2 to 3 days, 2 to 3 times per week for 6 to 8 weeks. We have yet to dial that down, but.
And the PAL Foundation is going to pay it in its entirety?
Correct.
Huh.
I'll make a motion that we approve the youth coordinator position with the PAL paying the $20 an hour for the program.
I'll second that.
Now, you got to do all background checks and whatever.
Correct, yep.
Right.
Is this a city employee or a PAL Foundation employee?
So they will be paid via the city, and then we will get reimbursed by the PAL Foundation in conclusion of the program.
Yeah,
That
that's
makes
the
it a
only
city
way.
employee, I agree. That makes it a city employee.
Yeah, but it's for a 6-week, it's a youth program, and then it's over.
Well, just so there isn't confusion, because.
No, but I mean, plan is.
I'm fine with
PAL.
it, I just.
PAL, not plan. What time is it? PAL is going to reimburse the city for the wages.
Correct.
Okay, anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All in favor.
Last item real quick, we did receive our Kubota RTV X1100. It came fairly quick compared to what they were originally telling us.
Is that the track machine now?
Yep, correct. So we have that. It was delivered last Friday. And upon looking at the previous minutes about the Polaris, I think we kind of came to a consensus that we would sell the Polaris upon arrival of the Kubota, but there was never really a recommendation made to mark it as surplus and direct me to do so. So I am looking for a recommendation to mark the 2017 Polaris Ranger 900 XP Crew Cab with Camzo tracks as surplus and to sell it through sealed bids. The starting bid would be set at $18,500.
I will make that motion.
I will second that motion.
Will you put it in the paper for publication?
Correct.
I mean, Facebook?
No.
Looks like Eric wants to buy it. I think he's bidding on it.
I'm going to trade it for a squad car that you want to use. How's that work?
What are you doing?
We're giving him our squad car when it's done this year.
Now you want the track machine for
I
trade?
would like the track machine.
What are you going to do with it?
What's that?
What are you going to do with it?
Well, hopefully not a whole lot, but if we need it, it'd be nice to have it our access.
I think we should sell it.
Okay.
Yeah,
sell
I mean,
my
the fire
squad car, too?
department's got one.
I don't have access to that.
Make a motion that Chips gives them
Yeah,
access.
that's easier. You now have access.
Yeah, no. So the motion is to sell it.
I'll
You seconded that.
Yeah.
Do I need a motion to put it in the paper, to publish it? I don't know.
Put it in the paper.
Well, I don't think we voted on that motion yet.
No, not yet.
So we got a motion and a second for you to advertise it with sealed bids, is that correct? With a minimal bid of 18,000?
18,500.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Sell it.
That's all I have unless you have any questions for me. Nope?
No.
Okay.
Thank you, TJ.
Thank you.
Patrick?
All right, the first thing is the update on the cost for the seal coat projects, which ends up, we had 100,000 in the budget, we're at 109,236. We have enough money in the budget, just prices of things that went up from last year to this year. That takes care of Bonnie Lakes and Rushmore. I think there's a couple other, I just can't think their names right off the top of my head.
I make a motion to approve.
Is Rushmore happy now? Is everybody happy in Rushmore?
No, Charlie's not.
Rushmore?
I sure hope they would be. but-
Okay,
Charlie.
just check. Okay. All right.
I second.
So a motion to approve with a second. Any other discussion on it? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And the next one is we have a letter dated from March 15th, 2023 from Crow Wing County Highway Department about our two bridges, Sunrise Island and Melinda Shores Bridge. There's some, brush and stuff growing up that we have to take care of, some simple little things. And then we got to work with Phil on Melinda Shores. There's some other issues that we've been looking at, and we're just got to get a bridge man up there to look at it. That bridge is several years old and just needs some attention on it.
No budget numbers, no,
No,
nothing?
no, not yet for Melinda Shores. The other one is just time out there, basically, more than anything to get things done.
Do we dredge it?
Melinda Shores, it's been dredged.
Who does that?
I'm not sure, that was done before I was here. I think it's been dredged before.
I'd like to know that, so.
Okay, so there's no motion there, that's just.
No, yep. And then on April 6, 2023, we discussed the house that the city bought from, that's in back of Public Works there. What we're looking for is a motion on it. The best thing would be if we could just have the fire department burn it so they could do their practices on it.
Is it very big? I don't.
No, it isn't. It isn't very
Can't we
big,
just
and there's.
push it over with a payloader and be done with it?
It's better if Chip and his crew could actually go in there and do
Can you
some
get a permit
rehearsals.
for burning?
The other option is to advertise it and see if anybody will give us anything for it.
Right. And then with that, then you have to clear out a whole bunch of trees to get it out of there and everything. So, you know,
And
I mean, it's a crying shame, don't get me wrong, but I think if Chip's guys can get some good,
Training.
you know, exercise out and learn and do their things, I think that'd be the best way to go with it.
Isn't it about a 30 by 40?
Yeah, something like that.
It's not real big.
No, it's not real big, and, you know, I looked at it for storage at one time, but it's only 8-foot sidewall, so can't really get nothing in there, so we're not short on storage right now for cold storage, so.
Burn it.
So the commission made a motion that we should try to sell it. If it doesn't sell, allow the fire department to burn it.
Yeah, it's up to you guys how you want to do it.
If they have trouble getting out of there, I think we just authorize the fire department to burn it. And then, Pat, you'll have to clean up what's left.
Right, yep, we'll just load it up and haul it out and haul it to the landfill.
So make a motion.
Did anybody else know that that deal went through? I mean, that it was approved, but that he moved out and we had ownership? I didn't.
Oh, we've had ownership for a long time.
Well-
He just recently moved out.
Yeah.
He was allowed to stay there
Maybe-
till that point.
Yeah, if somebody would ask me if we had it, I'd say, when he moves out, and he's moved out. It'd be nice to know, it would be nice if the city council knew those things.
No. Well, whatever it was. It was a moving target.
The city didn't pay him until he moved out, but yes, the purchase agreement was approved a year ago, probably. But he had up to a year to move out, but he didn't get paid until he actually moved out.
So the city did pay him
Well, they did now, but just in the last, probably like a few weeks ago.
a few weeks ago?
I'm guessing month, maybe not very long ago.
I don't see it on the list, the claims list.
I don't know how that shows up.
Signing a
but-
check for it, but
Okay.
so I don't recall signing
I-
a check for it.
Mike just brought the money over to me fairly recently. Time flies by, but the last few weeks.
So was it in March?
So how did he get,
Could have been April, I don't know, March or April.
how does that come out of the account with both signers not signing it, though? Isn't that odd?
I don't know how the money got to me, other than I had a check.
I think we should know.
We can find out, but it was fairly recently, and I did pay him, but to answer Aaron's question, the deal was done a year ago, but it wasn't,
Well,
yeah.
I'm not referencing the fact that
Yeah, I don't
we
know-
didn't
I
know
don't
about the
recall
deal.
who-
I'm just saying,
I don't recall who signed the check, I just cashed it, yeah.
There's two signers on the check, and I'm one of them, and I never signed any check for it.
Whether anybody signed it, I don't remember.
Well, that
It
would be-
cashed, I know that much.
Interesting.
how did the bank do that? I'm just saying that, granted, we approved the purchase of the land, but it'd be nice to know when the transaction took place.
It could have been still in April, I'm sure he can get to report to you, but I don't know more than that.
Shar, can you
Was
explain
it
to me
last
how
week?
that happened? Sometime? Okay. Message.
I can speak to that.
Okay.
Dave, you did sign the check?
For how much? 160 grand?
Yes,
And I
and
don't-
another one for 10,000.
Well, I could.
The check was made not to Randy, it was made to Quality Title, so it did not click, but you did sign it. You absolutely did sign it. I will give you a copy of the check from the bank reconciliation.
When did,
I'm going to come in and we'll take a look at.
so that was
I
in
will.
March then? How come it's not on the claims sheet or?
I can't tell you that right now. I'm not in the office. I'm at home.
Okay, well, I'm bad if that's true, because I usually look at big checks.
The purchase was already approved.
I know it was, yeah, but.
We know that, but on the claims sheet, we should have seen it
It's already approved though, so I wouldn't put it on there for approval.
I still want to come, I'll come in and look at that check, Shar, if you could get it sometime.
Probably not tomorrow, Dave, I
No,
don't know.
I get it, that's all right, take your
Okay.
time. Okay. So that's done? Got a motion, that's done? Nobody heard that?
The next thing we're looking at is renting a shouldering machine. And Public Works said we should rent it for the whole month, so we have time to get a whole bunch of the shoulders redone here in town. If you look at the prices, it does make more sense to rent it for the whole month, and then we can hit her hard, and if we have a couple days of storms or whatever, it can set and it's not that big of an issue. If we rent it for 2 weeks, it could be set, and if we have a lot of storms come through.
What does this shouldering machine cost?
It's like $70,000, $80,000.
And that's on the Bobcat, you follow a truck?
Yes, yes.
So it's an attachment
Yeah,
that goes
yeah.
on our machine?
And the only reason I'm looking at renting one is obviously it's cheaper, but, you know, in a couple of years, we might be down to using it for a week here and there. You know, once we get caught up on them, it shouldn't be that bad to keep up on it. And it's a lot of money to throw into something that
What
we
month
might
are you
use
gonna-
for a week out of a year.
What are you gonna rent it, what month?
That's to be determined yet. As I want to get it done June or no later in July is when I
I
want
would
to have
be
it done
really
by, so
happy
it packs in before the snow flies
I
next
would be
winter.
really happy to see all the roads shouldered.
That's the game plan.
Okay.
But we got to get storm damage done first. And that's hopefully going to start here within the next week or two with the snow leaving.
Okay, so you need a motion for that, Patrick?
Yep.
Who wants to make that? I'll make a motion, we approve renting the machine.
I'll second it.
Are you including the 600 a week for the wheel loader?
That's only if we have to use it, but they think our skid loader is big enough to handle it.
Okay, then. Good.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
And then just for clarification for Shar, she's curious, we need to make a vote on burning the house or not? If we're gonna burn it or what we're gonna do?
We didn't do that?
We didn't do that. So what do we wanna do? I think Aaron made a motion to burn it. I'd second that.
You're gonna sell it first, and then if it doesn't sell,
Okay, I was just answering what I was
listening to him have
asked,
to
so.
move all those trees in order to get it out of there.
My motion is to just burn it after Public Works meeting. We talked to a few guys. If we have to clear all these trees and that, it's better just to burn it right there and be done with it and give Chip's guys the experience of doing it.
That's what I thought.
Public Works Commission made a motion to try to sell it.
Right.
And then if not, give it to Chip. So you got a motion, what's going on? Because I'll make a motion if we don't.
I made a motion
made a
for the
motion.
fire department to burn it.
I seconded it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Have fun, Chip. Motion carries, Shar, all in favor?
All right, the last thing is, we're looking at purchasing a trailer, water trailer, to replace the water truck that we have. We got prices on tires, they were $7,000 to $12,000 for tires. You know, and you got other issues with that truck and everything. The new price on that water trailer is, for a 16,000 gallon tank is $18,217.
1,600 gallon.
1,600 gallon, yep. And then what our savings comes from the fire department, Chip letting us, he's donating a water pump and the hose reel and everything off of one of their old rigs that's been sitting in storage for a while.
What's the life expectancy of that?
This,
If I have a new one?
20 years, 30 years, you know, they don't get used very often, but it's something you have to have.
So Patrick, in the Public Works Commission meeting, somebody asked if you could flush the sewer with a 1,000-gallon tank, and you indicated you could.
Yes.
So my question to you is, why do we need a 1,600-gallon tank, which is gonna be harder on tires, harder on whatever?
I just like it. I like the little buffer of a little more water in there for a little bit more money.
And it's like 4,000 bucks more?
Yeah,
Are they both tandem axle trailers?
yes, yes.
They're both the same?
They're all tandem axle, they're rated for what we're doing with them. And the plus is that, you know, we always have a tow vehicle around there to pull the trailer versus Like that old fire truck sits there forever, and then you hope like heck it'll start and the way you go, and
Could you tow that 1,600 gallon trailer with the pickups?
yes.
There's
Yep.
not a weight issue with it or anything?
Nope, it says 1 ton or better, and that's what all our trucks are, about 1.
What does it cost to get a company that comes in jets? We don't have that many sewer
We,
lines, do we?
we have our own jetter, it's for flushing. So if you have a plug somewhere, you can flush the line and that. And
Well,
it's used for, and Parks and Rec will use it if they need to water some trees or whatever they need water for. It's gonna be jointly used by everybody.
Oh, but the jetter won't clear the lines then? A
Yes, the jetter
won't?
will, but sometimes you need a flush with a little high volume of water.
Okay, somebody make a motion.
Plus that, you know, we're gonna sell the other one for whatever we can get, probably a couple $1,000s if we're lucky for it.
Is that a promise?
No.
I've heard the nickel and diamond thing, and then you want to keep that.
Dave, I make a motion, we purchase the trailer, water trailer.
I second that.
Okay, any other discussion?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, all in favor.
Well, just gives you more.
All right, public safety, who's taking it? You guys, Chip?
I got it. In front of you, I have a resolution supporting an application for the fire department to apply for a grant from Sourcewell. Basically, we're going to be looking at applying for a grant to help purchase another Lucas device for EMS, for EMS crews. Lucas device is a basically chest compression CPR. It's automatic. So with limited staffing and limited, with the ambulance being out of town a lot lately, it's going to help us out a lot. So it's no cost to you, there's no matching, it's just a grant. And
Where's it start, at the fire hall? I mean, is that?
well, we have one at the fire hall, we're going to have another one with probably one of our firefighters that's on the south end of the city.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve using Sourcewell for the grant.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Public forum.
What's the H1B?
Bills for approval.
Bills for, additional bills for approval, we already approved that.
City attorney report.
That's what this is?
That's after public forum.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Public forum, action may or not be taken on the issues raised. Council requires more information, we'll put it up at the next meeting. Please state your name and address. Mr. Swenson.
Tom Swenson, this has to do with public work. Just a suggestion, if you're buying the trailer, which I'm glad you're doing, why don't you authorize the truck as surplus and sell it?
I think we did.
No, you just authorize the purchase of the trailer.
Didn't we tell you
He's
to sell
correct.
it?
He's correct. We did not
You gotta
authorize the
declare
sale.
it surplus and then authorize them to sell
Okay.
it. Otherwise, you got another truck sitting down
Oh, yeah.
in there.
No, we
so
gotta get rid of
just
it.
get rid of it.
So I make a motion to authorize that truck as surplus and to sell.
I'm going to make the motion to declare that truck surplus property.
I'll second that.
God, between you and Aaron, I don't know. Any questions on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries, all in favor. All right, anybody else for public forum? Look at that
Pat Netco,
refreshing
Crosslake.
smile coming up here, I appreciate it.
Well, since we're buying a water trailer, I'm just wondering if this could be used for watering flowers in the city.
It might
Just
be a
a
little
question.
overkill.
Well, you know, with the new boulevards, the new bump outs, the new plantings, the roundabout has to have plantings in the middle of that. That's going to take some maintenance. Just a thought to keep it in your brain.
Trucks in other cities do it.
Oh, well, there you go, something, something.
Can work something out, Pat.
Anybody else? City attorney?
These bills are on the city attorney report because I think Marcia brought it to our attention, but some time ago, Shar and Chip signed the paperwork to confirm the conflict of interest issue because the city pays bills to a company owned by Chip. nothing's changed, it's still what he's always been doing. It's just, well, my recommendation is at a minimum, you should do it at least once a year because councils change, and all council members should know what's going on. At a maximum, you could require it to be done every time he does a bill request. And I know Chip would say that's extra bureaucracy he doesn't need. But anyway, I can explain that better, well, Chip can explain it better than me in terms of what we're paying for. But I think at a minimum, at the annual meeting, we should authorize a new affidavit to be signed by Chip, because it's the same thing he does over and over again. But the statute, without council approval, Shar should probably be asking him to do it every time we do the paperwork, unless the council authorizes Shar to just do it once a year.
On a yearly basis.
But that's what happened before, is once a year, and then it gets laid aside, and it doesn't happen, and actually, it does say for every claim.
Oh, it definitely,
It says for every claim, so
don't argue
I would like to have, my suggestion would be to have it on the consent agenda listed separately, the bill, and I have a copy of the conflict of interest affidavit with it. It's a matter of, it's not a lot of paperwork, it's sign your name, saying it's a reasonable and just charge and what it's for and the amount. I mean, it's fill in a blank and sign your name and mail it with the invoice. That's a motion.
Okay, that's a motion?
Yep.
Do we have a second on it?
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, all in favor. Is that all you had, Brad?
I think so.
Any old business? Any new business?
I have old business.
We already went past that, Marcia.
Well, can I bring up the old business that I have? Well, last meeting,
I'm missing a wild hockey game right now.
well, okay. At the last meeting, I asked about the payroll records and the hours that the employees put in, if they're at the cemetery, if they're at the sewer, if they're doing streets, if they're doing snow removal, they're doing trails. And it came back that it was just for the trails and snow removal, and that's not true, because on the January 19th special meeting in 2022, the city council approved and passed a motion that the employees would keep track of the time on their schedules, and they would bring it in, and Shar would code it to the appropriate payroll department on the financial statement. And I would like to see that done, because that directive's already in place, but I'll make a motion to do it again.
What was the date of that motion?
January 19th, 2022. And then, no, it wasn't.
So were you made aware of that when you came on?
Nope. But I do know that they document plowing snow, but I don't, we don't really document anything else.
It was
so
for all
much.
activities. That was who worked in the sewer department, who worked
We're
in,
just tracking the time for clearing snows is what they've been doing.
I'll make that motion again, that they log all activities. It doesn't have to be down to the minute, just you worked on the streets that day, maintenance, 8 hours. You worked in the sewer plant, 2 hours. It's not a big deal. I know it's
No,
not a big
You just
deal.
have to, we'll have to change the time cards a little bit, because you're gonna,
Don't you just put it on the computer?
it's all
Oh,
printed out on the
I
time
think-
card.
I think Ted said no problem and was going to take the lead of
TJ.
TJ. TJ says, oh, we do that now. And Ted said, okay.
I think it'd be a good practice too, so.
Yeah.
I do have a question. I did read those minutes, Marcia, and I don't think any staff person, I don't know how, any staff person recalled that at all. Because from after that meeting, no one from Park, no one from Public Works ever started doing that. do you want like TJ's guys to do mowing?
I thought they
I
already
just
did.
don't think we ever
Do they
got
do
a
that?
clear picture of what, I don't know.
Back when we talked about this, I didn't state that I record that on my timesheet. I record what my guys do each and every single day on my own Excel spreadsheet, so I can, myself as a supervisor, know what they're doing and know how long it takes to complete a task. So I can't personally recall my guys putting down on the timesheet, other than when we plow for Public Works.
Okay, so you took that upon yourself to do.
Correct.
Okay, then let's just get the payroll timesheets figured out and submit it that way.
So I'm asking.
If it wasn't clear on January 19th, we'll make it clear tonight.
Can I clarify something now?
Go ahead.
Are they going to put down mowing grass, or is that just a street operation? I don't know where the,
Well, she's just looking for clarity of how far you want it broke down. You want it just Public Works, or do you want it that they're mowing the cemetery, they're mowing,
The cemetery, I would kind of like
you
to
know, and
isolate.
then mowing, you know, you've got Public Works buildings, the city hall, how far do you want to break everything down?
Well, if you're, oh,
I think the discussion started around when we talked about should we clear trails or not. And I think that's where the council said, let's monitor how long it takes to clear, sweep, maintain the walking trails in Cross Lake. There was, I think, some comments that were said in past meetings that said it would be nice to know how long they're doing this, that, and the other, but I don't think we ever really said specifically what we should keep track of. I mean, my guys, you could really, really pick things apart. I mean, really pick things apart. What I ask my guys to do for my own personal benefit as a supervisor, tell me how long you mow, tell me how long you spin trim. That's all I need to know for my own personal use. So that's the conversation we had back in January of 2022.
so it would be nice if we knew the sewer, Public Works. What do you do in Public Works? Street maintenance and
would it be
The cemetery, you know, because we hired somebody part-time last year to do the cemetery. Are we going to do that again this year?
We're currently trying to hire someone for that, yep, a seasonal groundskeeper. Would it be easier to put a year-end summary of a breakdown of what we do?
But I want it on the financial statement. I was trying to get Public Works to say, okay, this many hours in the sewer, because the sewer is supposed to be an enterprise fund, but percentages don't work for me, but if they do with the rest of the council, but the council already approved that the employees were going to log their activities.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with documenting what you do. I mean,
No,
people do that all the time, so, yeah, so just document what they do.
Okay.
But let's be careful. The difference between logging and then making the codes to get it on the financial statement are two different things, Dave.
But you'll recall in the minutes of the February meeting,
Well, no, I understand, but I'm
Mike
talking
came
about your
back
new-
with the codes are in place, so.
But
should be
I'm
done.
talking about what your motions or direction is for now, is there's two different things. They can put it on their timesheets and log everything, 2 hours for mowing and 2 hours for sewer and 2 hours for this or that. But then if you want to transfer it to financial statement, each one of those has to have their own code, and then somebody, I'm assuming Shar, has to put it into the system that way.
She's got a code payroll anyway.
Well, no, just so they understand, because I think there was misconception.
But that was a January 19th directive. I'd like to see it.
And me personally, for my use as a supervisor, I think it works because I have slots for mowing, spin trimming, garbage pickup, building maintenance. over half of it's miscellaneous, and they just fill in stuff that comes up throughout the day. So I think it would be kind of hard to track in payroll form, something that comes up in our building that we're doing plumbing, and something now it's coming up that we're fixing irrigation lines, and it's like, we do things, mowing, it's pretty week to week, spin trimming is week to week, but there's other things in the middle there that I don't know how we would code it to be transparent with what we're doing.
I'm not looking for a book, but it'd just be nice if we're looking at hiring somebody for the cemetery, and we could go back and say, well, last year we had 137 hours mowing the cemetery, you know, I mean, or whatever.
I have those
I think that in the software program, you can add another account.
Well,
if
I
they
don't
have-
care. I'm not the one doing it. I just don't want confusion up here with council expecting one thing and staff doing something differently. Okay?
To log on the timesheet, bring the timesheet in, and want Shar to code it to the
Then
appropriate department.
Patrick has to create a whole bunch of codes.
No, he doesn't.
Transferred.
He doesn't have to. All he has to do is put down street maintenance or snow removal streets, snow removal trails. And when he brings it in, she codes it into the financial system.
I think Tim Bray brought up, it might be a garbage removal over there at the Public Works building, huh?
God, everything is,
I'll get a system started, I'll work with Shar with it, and we'll bring it out to you next month and take a look at it and see if it works for you or not. How's that sound?
It'd just be nice to kind of know.
Yep.
So we should vote on that, so it is a motion.
I'll make a motion that the employees log their activities on their timesheet and bring them into Shar with the logging done to the appropriate departments.
Can we be clear on the departments?
And to exclude the police department, because all they do is police work and fire departments. Only, yeah, okay.
Okay.
Second motion. Let's get out of here.
I second the motion.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adjourn.
No. I still have new business now. No,
I promise you, do it personally.
it's not being done though.
Promise. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks for hanging in here, folks.